Minho's phone vibrates on the table. He looks at the screen. An unfamiliar number. He rarely answers calls like this. But today, something stirs inside him. He answers. Hello? There's silence on the line. Just someone's heavy breathing. Hello? He repeats. Minho? Says a thin voice. It's me. Minho freezes. He recognizes the voice. It's Ella, the girl he hasn't seen in years. Ella? Where are you? What happened? At school. I'm hiding in the bathroom. She speaks in a whisper. In the background, he can hear children's voices and the school bell. Why are you calling? He asks, although he already guesses. I can't live with Mom anymore. Ella's voice trembles. They scream all the time. He screams and breaks things. Mom has become angry. I'm scared. I'm afraid to go home. She is crying. Minho clutches the phone. You promised, she whispers. You said I would call if things get really bad. It's bad now. Take me away. Please. Minho immediately remembers that day. The day he and Kira broke up. He gave Ella his business card then. Said those words. Didn't think she'd remember. Where are you exactly? At the old school on First Street? Yes, you remember. Listen to me, Minho says firmly. He's already standing up and taking his keys. Go to the main entrance. Sit on the bench and wait for me. Don't go anywhere. Don't talk to anyone. I'm coming. Will you be there? In 20 minutes. Wait. Thank you. She hangs up. Minho stands in his quiet office. His head is noisy. Business and people await him outside the door. But he turns and walks to his private elevator. To the garage. The elevator goes down. Minho looks at the wall and sees the past. He remembers Ella as a little girl. She was about 6 years old. She ran to his car after school. She had a drawing in her hands. She laughed and shouted, Daddy, look! She wasn't his biological daughter. But when he lived with her mother, Kira, Ella called him Daddy. He remembers their old apartment. Cramped, but cozy. Kira is cooking dinner. Ella is doing her homework at the kitchen table. He comes home late, tired. But they are waiting for him. Ella always runs to him for a hug. Then the scenes changed. He started working more. He was often gone for days at a time. Kira became nervous. She started asking questions. What are you doing? Why are you hiding it? I'm afraid for you. I'm afraid for Ella. Their last conversation had been difficult. They were standing in the same kitchen. I'm leaving, Kira said. Her face was stern. I don't want this life for my daughter. She shouldn't have to live in fear. I can change everything, he tried to say, but he didn't believe it himself. No, you can't. Your world is dangerous. We're leaving. She called Ella to pack her things. Ella left the room. She was pale and scared. She had heard everything. Dad, are you leaving too? She asked. Minho crouched down in front of her. No, I'm staying. But you and Mom will go somewhere else. It will be better. He slipped his business card into her hand. If it gets really hard, call me. This number, okay? She nodded and hugged him tightly. He felt her trembling. Then they left in a taxi. Ella looked at him from the window. He waved to her. He never saw her again. The elevator stopped. The doors opened. The memories ended. Minho walked out into the garage. He walked past his new cars. He approached an old gray car in the corner. It was covered in dust. He rarely drove it. He opened the door, got in, turned the key. The engine started. He didn't call anyone. He didn't warn anyone. He just went. He pulled out of the garage and onto the street. The sun was shining brightly. The city was bustling around him. Minho didn't pay any attention. He was thinking about only one thing, getting to school. He drove along familiar streets, past their old house. Without looking, his face was stony. His hands gripped the steering wheel tightly. He knew this could be a mistake. He was meddling in other people's problems. His own life was complicated. Ella's arrival would ruin everything. It could be dangerous for both her and him. But he remembered her voice on the phone, full of fear. He remembered his promise. And he remembered how she hugged him on the day they parted. He couldn't help but go. That's all. He picked up the speed. There were 10 minutes left to school. He had to make it. Minho stops the car in front of a familiar house. It looks more dilapidated than before. The paint on the shutters is peeling. A broken child's toy lies on the lawn. He turns off the engine and sits for a second, looking at the front door. Then he steps out. His footsteps on the concrete path are loud in the afternoon silence of the courtyard. He presses the doorbell. A soft, hoarse sound is heard inside. Nothing happens. He waits. Then he presses it again, longer. Footsteps are heard inside. Not fast, but heavy, tired. The door opens slightly on the chain. Part of a face appears through the crack. A woman's face. Kira. She looks. Her eyes widen. There's no joy in them, only shock, followed by a momentary wave of weary wariness. Minho, her voice is hoarse, as if she just woke up or had been crying for a long time. Kira, open the door. What are you doing here? How did you? She trails off, her gaze hardening. She looks past him, as if searching for someone else. Why did you come? We need to talk. Open the door. She hesitates. Then the sound of a metal chain falling is heard. The door opens fully. She stands in the doorway. She's wearing old sweatpants and a loose t-shirt. Her hair is pulled back into a messy bun. She looks older than her years. There are dark circles under her eyes. She's clutching the edge of the door so tightly that her knuckles are white. She doesn't invite him in. Where's Ella? Minho asks without preamble. He stands in the doorway, making no attempt to enter without an invitation. Kira tenses, her eyes narrow. Ella? She's at school. Why do you ask? She called me. Half an hour ago. Kira's face quickly changes emotions. Confusion, guess, anger. Her cheeks turn red. What? What did you say? She called you? Her voice rises. How did she even know your number? And why? I gave it to her. When I left, told her to call if she was in trouble. She called. She shouldn't have done that, Kira says sharply. She steps forward, blocking the doorway. This is none of your business anymore, Minho. Go away. I want to see her. No. Kira. She called me in tears. She said she was afraid to go home. What's going on here? Nothing's happening, she almost screams. Then she glances sharply over her shoulder, into the depths of the house, and lowers her voice to an angry whisper. We have problems, family problems, not yours. She's just a child. She's dramatizing everything. You have no right to come here. You have no rights to her. She remembers that look. It means the negotiations are over. I'm not leaving until I see her and know she's okay. You can call her, or I'll come in myself. They stand facing each other in the doorway. The silence is taut as a string. Ella appeared from behind Kira. She looks exactly as she sounded on the phone, scared. She's wearing her school uniform, her hair a little disheveled. Her eyes are huge, red from crying. She looks at Minho, then at her mother. Mom, this Minho-yi, she says quietly. I see who it is. Kira turns to her. You scream all the time. Derek screams and breaks things. I don't want to be here. I want to leave. Derek, Kira says quietly, and there's shame and helplessness in her voice. Ella doesn't listen. She pushes past her mother, leaps out onto the threshold, and grabs Minho's hand. Her fingers are cold and clinging. Take me, please, she cries, clinging to his hand. Like you promised. I can't do this anymore. I can't. Minho places his free hand over her small one. He looks at Kira over the girl's head. Do you understand now? He says evenly. This isn't a drama. This is a cry for help. Kira looks at her daughter, clutching her ex-husband's hand. All tension drains from her face, replaced by bitter weariness and pain. She looks broken. Kira says hoarsely, She called. She's scared. I understand. But it can't be solved like that. Go inside, Ella. We'll discuss this calmly. No! Ella presses herself against Minho. I don't want to go inside. I want to leave. Minho stops Kira from speaking again. I'm taking her, he says clearly. What? Kira looks at him like he's lost his mind. No, of course not. You're not taking my daughter. Not forever. For a while. For a few days. Until you and Derek sort out your problems. Until she calms down. Until you calm down. You have no right. I have a right. A right that her fear gave me, he retorts coldly. Look at her, Kira. She's hysterical. Do you really think you can give her what she needs right now? Silence? Safety? Kira opens her mouth to protest, but finds no words. She looks at her daughter. Ella hides her face in Minho's sleeve, her shoulders shaking slightly. A few days, Minho repeats. She'll be safe. You know I can make sure of that. You can call her. When you and Derek have sorted things out, when everything has calmed down, I'll bring her back, or you can pick her up yourself. It's not a request. It's an ultimatum, delivered in a quiet, unmistakable tone. Kira understands this. She also understands that right now, in this state, she won't win this argument. And perhaps a part of her knows this is the best solution for now. She closes her eyes for a second. A couple of days, she breathes out. And I'll call every day. Okay, Minho agrees. Pack your things, Kira says to her daughter, not looking at her. Her voice is empty. Ella quickly lets go of Minho and runs inside the house, upstairs. The two adults remain silent, not looking at each other. 5 minutes later, Ella returns with a small backpack. Minho nods to Kira, briefly, wordlessly. Then he puts his hand on Ella's shoulder and leads her to the car. He opens the front door. She silently climbs into the seat, clutching her backpack to her chest. He gets behind the wheel and starts the engine. In the rearview mirror, he sees Kira standing in the doorway. She's hugging herself. She looks very small and alone. He pulls out of the yard. The first few minutes are spent in complete silence. Ella stares out the window, her forehead pressed against the glass. Her breathing gradually evens out. Minho stares at the road. Minho has just made himself part of those problems. He steals a glance at Ella. She's still looking out the window. A tear stain glistens on her cheek. She trusts him, absolutely, because he was once her daddy, and because he came when she called. He feels the weight of this responsibility. It weighs on his shoulders more heavily than any feud or business rivalry. Ella gets out of the car silently. She looks around. Everything here is new, alien, and a little frightening in its solitude and silence. She holds her backpack in front of her like a shield. Minho leads her to the elevator. He presses the code. The elevator quickly ascends to the top floor. The doors open directly into the hallway of his apartment. The apartment is spacious, very clean, and almost empty. Minimalistic furniture, white walls, huge windows overlooking the city. There are no unnecessary things, no photographs, no traces of anyone's personal life. It feels like a designer hotel, not someone's home. Ella takes a cautious step inside. She looks small and lost against the backdrop of this vast, bright space. At that moment, a sharp, loud ringing breaks the silence. Ella flinches and presses herself against the wall. Minho takes out his phone. The name on the screen is Jinho. Minho looks at the phone. He has to answer. Jinho only calls for urgent matters. He steps to the side, toward the window. Yes? He says into the phone. Minho, where are you? Jinho's voice is calm, but there is tension in it. You missed the meeting. People are waiting. There is a delivery issue. We need your decision. I'm busy, Minho says, looking out the window at the city. He sees Ella's reflection in the glass. She is standing motionless by the door. What could you be doing at this hour? Jinho doesn't hide his surprise. It's important. You scheduled this meeting yourself. Reschedule, Minho says, for tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow. There is a pause on the line. Jinho is clearly shocked. Reschedule? Now? Everyone is already here. They won't understand. What should I tell them? Tell them that unforeseen circumstances have come up. Family circumstances. What family? Jinho begins and falls silent. He knows Minho doesn't have a family, or shouldn't. Minho, is everything okay? Where are you? Everything is fine. I can't talk now. Reschedule the meeting. I'll contact you later. But, do as I said. Minho's voice becomes hard and cold. It's the kind of tone that brooks no argument. Another pause. Okay, Jinho finally says. I'll try, but it will create problems. I know. Figure it out. Minho hangs up without waiting for an answer. He turns to Ella. She's still standing by the door, looking at him with wide eyes. She heard his conversation. She realized that he canceled something important because of her. Minho places the phone on the glass table. He approaches Ella. Come on, I'll show you your room, he says. He leads her down a long hallway. He opens the door to the guest bedroom. It's as clean and impersonal as the living room. A large bed, a closet, an empty desk. This is where you'll sleep, Minho says. Ella silently places her backpack on the bed. She doesn't unzip it. Minho looks at her. He knows he has to say something. Explain the rules of this new, strange game. Ella, listen to me carefully, he begins. His words are slow and clear. You'll be safe here, but you have to do what I say, without questions. Understand? She nods without looking up. First, you never open the front door, for anyone. Even if someone knocks, rings the doorbell, calls my name. Even if it's a woman or a child, I am the only one who opens the door. Always. Ella looks up at him. There's a question in her eyes, but she remains silent. Second, you don't go near those big windows in the living room, especially when it's dark and the light is on. If you want to look at the city, do it from this room. The windows here are smaller, and they're on the side. And never stand by the window for too long. Do you understand? Why? She asks in a whisper at last. Because from up here, you can see everything. And I don't need anyone to see you. It's a safety rule. An important rule. She nods again. She looks scared, but also focused. She's trying to remember. Third, if you're alone and you hear any strange sounds in the apartment, footsteps, voices that shouldn't be there, You go immediately to this room, lock the door from the inside, and call me. The number you called. Always carry your phone with you. I'll put it here, on the nightstand. Where will you be? She asks. Sometimes I need to go away, on business, but not for long, and I'll always be in touch. Do you have any questions? She shakes her head silently. No, and she, a 12-year-old girl, has accepted them without arguing. Minho goes to the kitchen. He opens the fridge. It's almost empty. There's water, some fruit. He needs to order food, but first he needs to take care of the chores he's abandoned. He picks up his phone again. He sees several missed calls from Jinho and Taeyong's brother. He ignores them. Instead, he opens an app with the house's surveillance cameras. He has several cameras at the entrance to the complex and in the garage. Everything is fine. Nothing suspicious. It's smaller than the living room window and looks out onto the courtyard between the buildings. A safe angle. His thoughts return to Kira and her husband. Derek. He needs to find out who this man is, what his problems are. Minho can't leave the threat undefined. He dials one of his men, the one who handles information. It's me, Minho says when the man answers. I need information on a man, named Derek, lives at... He recites the address of Kira's house. Find out everything you can. Quickly and quietly. The man on the other end confirms the assignment. Minho hangs up. He returns to the living room. Ella is still in her room. The door is ajar. He hears her carefully moving things around. He approaches the large panoramic window in the living room. He stands to the side, behind the curtain, and looks down at the street. The evening lights are coming on in the city. Cars like toys crawl past below. And then his gaze catches on a single car, a dark, unmarked sedan. It's parked across the street from the entrance to his complex, not in the official lot, just by the sidewalk. In buildings like these, the parking is usually occupied. Other people's cars don't sit there for long, but this one is worth it, and Minho seems to have seen her before. At Kira's house, he can't be completely sure, but his instincts are screaming for danger. It could be a coincidence, or maybe not. He looks carefully. There seems to be one person sitting in the car, the driver. He doesn't get out, doesn't drive away. He just sits there. Minho slowly backs away from the window, into the shadows of the room. His expression hardens. Perhaps it's just paranoia. Perhaps Derek or his creditors have already expressed interest. Or perhaps someone from his own world noticed his strange behavior today and decided to check it out. It doesn't matter. The threat, real or potential, is now present. And it's right on his doorstep, a few dozen meters away from him and the frightened girl in the next room. He quietly approaches Ella's door. He knocks. Yes? She responds quietly. Everything is fine. Dinner will be in an hour, he says in a calm voice, in which there is not a hint of anxiety. Please close the curtain on the window in your room. Completely. Okay, he hears her voice. He hears the curtain creak. Minho returns to the living room. He sits down in a chair in the darkness, where he can't see out the window but can see the front door. He doesn't turn on the light. He just sits and watches, and waits. His phone is in his lap. He's ready for action. The shadow outside the window has changed everything. This isn't just a hiding place for a child anymore. It's a battlefield, and he's just brought his most precious and defenseless hostage here. An hour later, Minho orders food. It's simple, fried rice, chicken, and vegetables. He places the containers on the glass table in the living room and calls Ella over. She leaves the room. She looks a little calmer, but still wary. They sit down at the table. They eat in silence for several minutes. The only sound is the clicking of chopsticks. Thank you, Ella says quietly, looking down at her plate. You're welcome, Minho replies. He decides to begin. Ella, tell me about Derek. How did it all start? She looks up at him, then down again. She twirls the chopsticks in her hands. At first, he was normal, cheerful. He brought Mom presents, took us to the movies. Then, he lost his job, and everything changed. When did that happen? A year ago, maybe more. He started drinking a lot. Beer, strong, all the time. Then the argument started, quietly at first, then loudly. Then he started throwing things. She falls silent, swallows a lump. At whom? Minho asks, his voice becoming a little harsher. No, not at us. She speaks quickly. At the wall, at the door, at the TV. One day, he smashed a plate on the floor. The shards hit Mom's feet. There was blood. And what did Mom do? Ella shrugs. Her face becomes sad. At first, she defended him. She said that he was going through a difficult time, that he was looking for a new job. Then she started arguing with him, yelling back. And then, she just gave up. She became quiet, walks around the house like a shadow. Sometimes she cries. I ask her, she says everything is fine, but it is not fine. And you? Has he ever threatened you? No, but I'm afraid of him. What happens now? She asks, and fear returns to her eyes. Mom's alone there, and that man, he might come back. Mom will be okay, Minho says, although he's not sure. And you're safe here. Eat, then you can rest. She nods obediently and begins to eat again, but without appetite. Late in the evening, when Ella is already in her room, a sharp, insistent ringing of the doorbell rings out, not through the intercom, but directly at the door. Loud, demanding. Minho approaches the video panel. On the screen, he sees the angry face of his younger brother, Taeyong. He said something about a family emergency. We're having problems with suppliers here, and you? He trails off, noticing a child's backpack on a chair in the living room. His gaze glides to the floor, where a pair of girlish sneakers sits. He slowly turns to face his brother. What's that? Who's there? At that moment, Ella emerges from her room. She heard loud voices. She stands in the doorway, in her pajamas, looking at the enraged, unfamiliar man. Taeyong looks at her, then at Minho. His face contorts with confusion and growing anger. What kind of joke is this? He says quietly. Who is this? My guest, Minho answers coldly. Ella, go into the room and close the door. Ella disappears instantly, clicking the lock. Taeyong comes up close to his brother. Guest, he hisses, trying to keep his voice quiet, but it's difficult. You brought a child here? To our fortress? Are you crazy? Calm down, Minho says. Calm down? Jinho says you were acting strange today. Disappeared. And now I find some girl here. Is that your ex's daughter? A black whore? Minho takes a quick step forward. He doesn't hit his brother, but his movement and gaze make Taeyong take a step back. Watch your language, Minho says quietly, but in a way that sends a chill down Taeyong's spine. She's here because she has nowhere else to be. She's being threatened. So what? Taeyong spreads his hands. Is this our problem? Are you trying to drag us into some mundane squabble? Because of your old sentimentality? You know what's going on around here? We have our own wars, and you're bringing the weakest point into the house. The decision has been made, says Minho. She's staying here until the situation is resolved. Staying? Taeyong laughs, but there's no humor in it. Fine, but what if they come for her? What if the same people we're in conflict with are looking for her? You want them to find her here? With us? You're jeopardizing the whole thing, all of us, because of some strange girl. Minho doesn't answer right away. He steps so close to his brother that their noses are almost touching. Taeyong sees not anger in his eyes, but an icy, undeniable power, the look many have seen before breaking. Listen to me very carefully, Taeyong, Minho says evenly, enunciating each word. This is not a discussion. This is an order. This girl, as you said, is under my protection, and, by extension, under the protection of our entire clan. Your job is to ensure that protection. Understand? You don't ask questions. You do it. But, no but, Minho interrupts. If someone poses a threat to her, we eliminate that threat. And if anyone within our organization questions my decision or thinks they can disobey, I will deal with that person personally. Understood? Taeyong freezes. Anger still boils within him, but on top of it, a familiar, deep-seated fear of his older brother and leader grows. He lowers his eyes. Understood, he mutters hoarsely. Now go. Calm the people down. Tell them that everything will be resolved tomorrow. And find out what dark car is parked in front of our house. Make license plate. Who's inside? I need this information by morning. Taeyong nods without looking. An hour later, a report arrives from the man Minho sent to find out about Derek. The information arrives in text form. Minho reads it, sitting in the dark. Derek, full name, Derek Holt. Several convictions for petty theft and assault. For the last 2 years, he worked as a delivery driver for a small transport company. The company is owned by people associated with the Severians. Minho puts his phone down. The Northerners are a young, aggressive group that has been trying to carve out chunks of their territory for the past year. So far, it's been minor skirmishes, negotiations on the brink of collapse. If Derek is involved with them, even at a low level, then his debt problems aren't just mundane debts. They're debts to very dangerous people. And if these people are looking for Derek, they could easily find his wife and stepdaughter. Now the dark car at the entrance takes on a new, ominous meaning. It could have been the Northerners. They could have been tailing Kira or Ella herself, or they were simply watching Minho's house, and the girl's appearance was an unexpected advantage for them. Early in the morning, while Ella is still asleep, the concierge calls the intercom. He informs her that there's a woman named Kira downstairs. She asks to be let in. Minho goes downstairs himself. He doesn't want Kira to go up to the apartment and see Ella in this state. He meets her in the sterile first-floor hallway. Kira looks even worse than yesterday. She hasn't slept all night. She's wearing the same clothes. She's shaking. "Where is she?" she asks immediately, her eyes darting. "She's asleep. Upstairs. Safe. Do you want to see her?" Kira shakes her head. "No, not now. He's not back," she says quietly, looking somewhere past Minho. "Derek, I called all night. His phone is off, and they came to me." Minho is wary. "Who?" "Two people, late at night, rude. They asked where Derek was. They said he owed them a large sum of money. A lot. That if they couldn't find him, they would come to his family for answers." She looks at Minho, and there's real animal fear in her eyes. "They knew my name. They know about Ella. One of them, he looked at me like I was already a thing." "Minho, I don't know what to do." She's not asking to take her daughter back. She came for something else, for protection, for help from the one person she once feared, and now fears even more. "Do you know who he owes it to?" Minho asks. "No, he never gave details. Just that they were serious people, that if he didn't pay, we would be in trouble. I thought he was exaggerating, but those two, they didn't look like ordinary debt collectors." "They didn't look like them," Minho confirms. "They were from the Northmen." Kira pales. She's heard that name, from Minho in the past. She understands what it means. "Oh God!" She covers her face with her hands. "What should we do? I can leave? Hide? But they'll find Ella at school." "They already have," Minho says. She drops her hands, looking at him in horror. "What?" "There's a strange car parked outside my house, since last night. I'm almost sure it was them. They might have been following you. They might have been following me, but the fact is, they know Ella is here now." Kira leans against the wall to steady herself. Her plan to escape is ruined. Her daughter is trapped, and she herself has brought the threat to her doorstep. Minho watches her. He sees the same helplessness and fear she felt at the end of their relationship. But now he can't just turn away, because Ella is now involved in this game, and because the Northerners are now his problem. "You're going upstairs," he says. "You're going to shower, eat, see your daughter. And I'm going to solve this problem." She looks at him with a silent question. "How?" "I'll talk to them," Minho says simply. You'll pay his debt?" There's a faint hope in Kira's voice. Minho shakes his head briefly. "No, I won't pay for his mistakes. But I will make sure that this debt is no longer your problem, and their problem. Give it to me today." "What about Ella? Can I stay with her?" "For today, yes. It's not safe for you at home right now either." He leads her to the elevator, tells her the code. He watches the door close. Then he takes out his phone. The problem has ceased to be family. It has become professional. The Northerners have crossed an invisible line, showing up at his house and threatening someone under his protection. This is already a challenge, and a challenge must be answered. Jinho arrives 40 minutes later. He's not alone. He's accompanied by two neutral-looking people who remain in the car. Minho meets him at the entrance. They go into a small conference room on the ground floor, which is available for use by residents. Jinho sits up. His face is a mask of calm, but his eyes are attentive and tired. "The car was checked," he begins without preamble. "The license plate is fake. The registration is false. The people inside are young strangers. They left at dawn, most likely just observers. They sent photos and videos." Taeyong is furious. "I know," says Minho. "Derek Holt, my ex-wife's husband, owes the Northerners a large sum. Yesterday, they came to Kira with threats. They know about the girl, and now they know that I have her." Jinho nods slowly. He is putting the puzzle together in his head. "So what are you going to do?" he asks. "Pay for him?" "No." "Give them the girl or the ex-wife?" Jinho's voice is not sarcasm, but cold analysis. "No." "Then what? You want a war over this?" Jinho leans forward. "Minho, I respect you. You are a strong leader, but this is emotion. This is not calculation. The Northerners are looking for a reason for a big fight. You are giving it to them on a silver platter, because of a stranger." "She is not a stranger," Minho says quietly. "She is a stranger to business." For the first time in a long time, Jinho raises his voice. Your personal life should be kept outside the door. You're jeopardizing everything we've built. For what? Guilt? Old attachments? Minho remains silent. He lets Jinho speak. I'm offering a compromise, Jinho says, composing himself. We help the woman and child disappear. New documents, tickets to another state, even a small amount of money to start with. We erase them from this story, and we negotiate with the Northerners. We say they've left, that we have nothing to do with it. It will be safer for everyone, for them, for us. It's a smart plan, practical, safe. But Minho looks at Jinho's face and knows he can't accept it, because it would be running away, and because he gave Ella his word. No, he says, they remain under my protection, here, and I will talk to the Northerners myself. My way. I need a meeting. Neutral territory. Today. Make them understand that this isn't a discussion of duty. This is a conversation about boundaries. And what will happen if they cross them? Jinho looks at him for a long moment. Then he sighs slowly. He sees that the decision has been made. Okay, he says. I will arrange a meeting. But this is a big mistake, Minho. I hope you understand what you're getting into. I always understand, Minho replies and stands up. The silence in the apartment lasts until late evening. Ella and Kira sit in the living room, talking quietly. Minho watches the street. There's no car at the entrance, but that doesn't calm him down. He checks the cameras every 15 minutes. Around 11 o'clock at night, a sound is heard, a soft metallic scraping. Minho freezes. He raises his hand, signaling the women to be quiet. They fall silent, their eyes filled with fear. The sound repeats. Someone is trying to open the outer hatch leading to the balcony. It's difficult, but possible for a professional. Minho stands quickly. He approaches Ella and Kira. To the safe room, now. Silently, he whispers. He leads them down the hallway, not to Ella's bedroom, but to his own. There's an inconspicuous door behind the closet. He punches the code into the keypad. The door opens silently. Inside is a small windowless room with reinforced walls, water, and communications. Enter. Lock from the inside. Don't leave until I arrive, no matter what you hear outside. Kira nods, grabs Ella's hand, and steps inside. The door closes. Minho slides the closet, hiding the keypad. He returns to the living room. He's alone now. He goes not to the balcony, but to the control panel. He turns off the main lights in the entire apartment with a single switch. The room is plunged into darkness, lit only by the dim light from the street through the windows. The scraping noise from the balcony grows louder. A click is heard. The hatch has opened. Minho takes a position against the wall, around the corner of which the balcony door is visible. He doesn't draw his weapon. Not yet. He waits. The balcony door slowly slides open. A dark figure in black appears in the doorway. A single person. He cautiously steps inside, looking around in the darkness. At that moment, Minho turns on the lights. Not all of them, but one powerful spotlight aimed directly at the intruder's face. The man closes his eyes, shudders, and raises his hand to cover them. He is young, nervous. In his hand, he holds not a gun, but a small crowbar. With a crowbar? The last time. Who? Silence. Then the man makes an uncertain move. He abruptly rushes to the door, back to the balcony. Minho doesn't run after him. He stays where he is. There's a thud, the sound of a struggle on the balcony, then a muffled groan and silence. A minute later, Taeyong comes through the door. He wipes his hands. Caught him! Alone! Stupid brat. He probably won't say anything. Waiting for instructions outside. Take him to the warehouse. Let Jinho talk to him. Carefully. Minho walks to the balcony, closes the door, and locks it. He turns on the main light. The apartment is empty and quiet. The threat has passed, but this is only the first test. A reconnaissance mission. The next one will be more serious. Minho unlocks the safe room. Kira and Ella emerge, pale but composed. What was that? Kira whispers. Nothing. An intruder. He's gone, Minho replies. He looks at Ella. The girl is silent, but her eyes say everything. She understands the danger is real. She is here, in this fortress, and enemies are already trying to break in. It was at that moment that something shifted inside Minho. Until now, he'd been reactive, answering the call, taking Ella, fending off the first attack. He'd tried to defend himself, but it wasn't enough. As long as the threat lingered somewhere beyond the walls, it would return again and again. It would find a crack. It would scare Ella. It would hurt Kira. It would undermine his authority. We can't just hide. We can't wait for the next attempt. We need to eliminate the source of the threat. Completely. Forever. Not for revenge, but for safety, for silence within these walls. He makes a decision. He will no longer defend himself. He will go on the offensive. The goal is clear, to keep Ella safe. And that means dealing with Derek's debts and the people behind them, once and for all. In the morning, Minho calls Jinho on a secure line. Taeyong reports. The snapper he caught is a low-level contractor. He was hired for a small fee simply to check if the apartment could be accessed from the balcony. The client is an unknown number, but the work style points to Northerners. So they already know where she is and are checking our defenses, Jinho says. What are we going to do? We're finding out who exactly in the Severian structure is responsible for Derek's debt. Holt, Minho says. Not just an organization, but a specific name. Who issued the money? Who's handling the case now? Who does he owe? It's a risk. If we start asking questions, they'll realize we're seriously involved. They already realized that when they sent their man to my balcony. Now we need leverage. We can't negotiate without knowing who we're talking to. We need to find a weak link in their chain. Maybe whoever issued the money did so without approval from above. Maybe the amount isn't that large, but they're using it as a pretext. We need information. Okay, Jinho says after a pause. I have a contact. A man who sometimes sells information about the internal affairs of the Northerners. He's unreliable, but he might know. I'll meet him today. Do it. And find out everything about Derek. Holt. Where could he hide? Does he have other debts? Other enemies? We need the full picture. I understand. The plan is clear. Find a specific creditor. Find out the real amount of the debt and their true motives. Then act based on this information. Yes. Negotiations must be from a position of strength, based on knowledge. Prepare a meeting with them, on neutral territory. But only after we know everything. The plan is made. Now everything depends on the information. Minho hangs up. The calculation is cold and logical. He turns a personal problem into an operational task. It's easier for him to think that way. It allows him to act without emotion. The information comes in the evening. Jinho calls. Found it. The money was not given to the Northerners, but to a man named Harry. He is a middleman, works for them, but often conducts his own small business. Derek's debt is one of them. Harry wanted to make money on interest, but Derek disappeared. Harry is afraid that his superiors will find out about his independence, so he puts pressure on the family, trying to return the money before it is revealed. The amount is not gigantic, but significant for Harry. And where is this Harry? He agrees to a meeting. He is afraid of us and his own. Ready to talk. The place is an old warehouse district by the river. Neutral. Today, at midnight. Okay, I'll be there. Minho, he asked for you to be alone, as a guarantee. I will be alone by the car. You and our people, at a distance, in contact. As usual. Minho hangs up. He goes out into the living room. Ella and Kira are watching a movie. He approaches. I need to leave for a little while. On business, he says. Taeyong will be here. He'll stay in the apartment with you. Kira nods, trying to look calm. Ella looks at him with concern. Will you come back? She asks simply. Of course, he says. Do you remember the rules? Don't open the door. Don't go near the windows. Call if anything happens. Right. Taeyong will be outside, in the living room. You'll be safe. Taeyong arrives. He's grim, but obedient. He nods to Minho and takes a position at the entrance. Don't let anyone in. Don't let anyone out. Constant communication, Minho tells him. I know, Taeyong mutters. Minho gets out. He goes down to the garage and gets into a black SUV instead of the gray one. He checks the connection. Jinho's voice sounds clear in the earpiece. Team is in place. We're covering the area. We'll keep an eye on it. Okay? I'm on my way. The car pulls out of the garage and disappears into the night traffic. Minho is on his way to a meeting that should clear everything up. He's driving alone, but his thoughts remain in the apartment above, where his brother guards the two women who have unexpectedly become the center of this whole mess. He's going to negotiate or to eliminate the threat once and for all. For him, it's the same thing. The goal is peace and safety within the walls of his home. The old warehouse district by the river is plunged into darkness and silence. Only the occasional streetlight illuminates the rutted road. Minho stops the car at the designated spot, in front of an abandoned workshop. He turns off the engine and gets out. There's not a soul around. A cold wind from the river blows debris across the ground. A man emerges from the shadows by the gate. Short, stooped, in a long jacket. It's Harry. He looks around, rubbing his hands nervously. Are you alone? His voice sounds hoarse. As agreed, Minho answers. Where are your people? Closeby, just in case. As are yours, I think. Harry smiles uncertainly. Let's talk inside. It's windy. He turns and walks toward the workshop entrance. Minho follows him, keeping his distance. Inside, the smell of damp, oil, and dust fills the air. The only light is a dim, battery-powered lantern perched on an old crate. So, Derek, Holt, Harry begins, turning around. He owes me money, but that's not really the point. What's the point? Minho asks, stopping a few meters away from him. Information, Harry says, his eyes growing cunning. You took his stepdaughter, and his wife, I heard. You have her too. So you're involved, seriously involved. This isn't just extortion. This is an attempt to get to the core of his dealings by exploiting his personal weakness. They think he'll jeopardize the whole thing because of Ella and Kira. They don't understand who they're dealing with. Let's say I refuse, Minho says. Then we'll take them, sooner or later. There are several muffled pops. Bullets hit the concrete floor and the crates where he had just been standing. They're fired from above, from the catwalk. A trap. Their goal isn't to capture him, but to eliminate him here and now. Minho presses himself against the tires, drawing his pistol. Jinho's worried voice can be heard in the earpiece. Minho, the comm jammers are activated, but we're seeing heat signals. They have more people than we thought. They're blocking the exits. So, this was a full-blown ambush. The Northerners decided to eliminate him in one blow, using this encounter as bait. Two men run down the stairs. Minho fires at the sound. One falls with a muffled scream. The other hides behind a column. The gunfire intensifies. Bullets whistle through the darkness. Minho crawls along the wall, trying to reach where Harry remains. He's the key to escaping this trap. He hears his panicked breathing somewhere to the left. Minho lunges. He covers Harry, pinning him to the floor. He squeals in fear. Tell your men to stop, Minho hisses in his ear, pressing the gun to his temple. I can't. They won't listen to me. Those aren't my men up there. Those are the main squad. I was just bait. That means Harry is expendable too. They were ready to sacrifice him too. At that moment, a new sound is heard, the rumble of engines outside. Jinho and his men's vehicles burst into the compound, their powerful headlights blaring through the broken windows of the workshop. A shootout breaks out outside. Minho rises, carrying Harry like a shield. He breaks through to the side exit he noticed earlier. They're shot at from above. One bullet grazes Harry, and he goes limp. Another catches Minho. A sharp, searing pain shoots through his side, just below his ribs. He stumbles but manages to stay on his feet. He tumbles out the side door. Two of his men immediately grab him. They practically drag him into one of the cars. Jinho, firing from the window of another car as he moves, gives commands. They manage to break through the blockade and escape onto the highway. Minho sits in the car, clutching his side. Warm blood seeps through his fingers. Pain pulses with every heartbeat. A doctor! Jinho shouts over the radio. Take me to a safe house, now! No, Minho says through clenched teeth. Not there. Home. You're hurt, and they might be following you. Home. His voice brooks no argument. He needs to see what's wrong with Ella and Kira. He needs to be sure they're safe. He understands what just happened. This wasn't just a provocation. This was a declared war. And first blood, his blood, has already been spilled. He's transferred to a makeshift stretcher and taken in the service elevator straight to the apartment. Taeyong opens the door, his eyes widening at the sight of his brother. Ella and Kira stand in the living room doorway. They see Minho's pale face and bloody clothes. Kira screams and claps her hand to her mouth. Ella freezes, unable to move. Her world, which had already begun to crack, is now shattering completely. The doctor and Jinho carry Minho to the bedroom, out of sight. There, they lay him on the bed, cut his jacket, and treat the wound. The bullet passed through without hitting any vital organs, but he had suffered significant blood loss. Ella stands in the hallway, pressed against the wall. She hears muffled groans, the doctor's voices, the clanking of instruments. She sees Jinho emerge, with bloody bandages in his hands. His face is stern. She understands. It's because of her call, because of her fear. Minho went there because she asked for help, and he was almost killed. Now he lies there, wounded, with war all around him. She's the reason. She's a burden, a weak spot that makes the strong suffer. When the doctor leaves, saying the danger is over, but that she needs rest, Ella makes a decision. She quietly makes her way to her room. She takes out her small backpack. She puts a few things in it. She won't burden them anymore. She will leave, maybe to her mother, maybe just leave. They will stop fighting over her. An hour later, Minho comes to. The pain is dull, pressing, but bearable. The room is dimly lit. Jinho is sitting next to him. The girl was getting ready to leave, Jinho says quietly. They caught her near the elevator with a backpack. She says she doesn't want to cause problems. Minho closes his eyes. Then he opens them. Bring her here. A minute later, Ella comes in. She stands at the threshold without looking up. She looks like a convict. Come here, Minho says. His voice is weak but firm. She slowly approaches the bed. Did you want to leave? He asks. She nods, looking at the floor. Why? Because you almost got killed because of me. All these problems are because of me. You all fight, shoot. I don't want people to suffer because of me. I'm a burden. Minho is silent for a second. Then he says, Ella, look at me. She raises her eyes with difficulty. You are not the cause of the problems. You are the reason I have to solve them. Do you understand the difference? He speaks slowly, through the pain. Before you called, I had a job. I had enemies. I had a routine. Now I have a reason. A reason to be smarter, stronger, more careful. A reason not just to survive, but to win. They think you are my weakness. They are wrong. You are my fulcrum, my purpose in this war. If you leave, they win. Because they will force me to retreat from what is important. And I am not retreating. Ella looks at him. She sees the pain in his eyes, but she also sees unwavering confidence. She hears more than just comfort. She hears the truth. You'll keep fighting because of me? She whispers. I'll keep living because of you, he corrects. And to live in peace, we need to end this war. And for that, I need to know you're safe, here, under my protection. Are you staying? Ella looks at him, then she slowly sets her backpack on the floor. Yes, I'm staying. Kira enters the bedroom. She, too, looks changed. The shock of what happened, the sight of Minho's wound, her daughter's decision to leave, it all came together to form a clear understanding. I need to talk to you, she says quietly. Speak. First, I'm sorry. For everything. For not listening earlier. For bringing this trouble to you. I was stupid and blind. Derek is your choice. You couldn't have known, Minho says. Second, I know something. Derek, when he drank, sometimes chatted. He talked about more than just debts. He said that these people, the Northerners, they were planning something against you. Big. Not just a skirmish. They wanted to hit something important. Some key supplier or a storage location. A warehouse. I don't remember exactly, but he mentioned a date. 3 days from now. And he talked about a blow to the heart. Those were his words. Blow to the heart. Minho looks at her, his mind racing through a fog of pain. Warehouse. In 3 days. Blow to the heart. He has one main logistics center, a well-guarded warehouse from which distribution to all points is carried out. If they disable it, business will be at a standstill for weeks. It will be a huge blow to his reputation and finances. Are you sure about the date? He asks. Yes. In 3 days. He kept saying it. He said that then they'd have all the cards, and they'd force you to leave the eastern part of the city. The information is priceless. They now have not only a threat, but also a deadline, and knowledge of the enemy's plan. Why are you telling me this now? Minho asks. Because I saw the way Ella looked at you. She sees you as a father again. And I see a man who, despite everything, is trying to protect my daughter, even at the cost of his own life. I choose a side, your side. I will do whatever it takes to make this end. The next morning, Minho, overcoming pain, holds a meeting. Jinho, Taeyong, and 2 other trusted commanders are present in the apartment. Kira is in the next room with Ella. We have 3 days, Minho begins. His face is pale, but his voice is firm. They are planning a strike on the main warehouse on East Street. A strike to the heart. We will not protect it. Taeyong looks at him in confusion. Not protect it? But that. We are evacuating it, Minho interrupts, quietly and quickly. Their goal is to inflict great damage on us and show off their strength. They will not. Instead, they will find themselves inside a facility that we completely control, and which will be surrounded. Jinho smiles slowly. He understands. A trap. They'll enter, and there'll be no way out. Exactly, Minho nods. But it's not just a trap. It's a message. We're not just repelling the attack. We're showing that we know their plans, that they're transparent to us. We're not striking at their muscles, but at their nervous system. And there's a reason why all of this is worth doing. She is in the next room, perhaps studying or looking out the curtained window. He must give her peace. And he will. Coldly, calculatingly, and ruthlessly. For one quiet thank you, and the chance to someday hear her laugh without fear again. 2 days pass at a feverish pace. Without it, production will grind to a halt for weeks, causing huge losses and disrupting contracts. Minho doesn't want to rob the cargo. He needs to detain it, create trouble. Early in the morning, 3 Severian trucks are driving along the ring road. Suddenly, a truck loaded with timber overturns in front of them. Traffic comes to a standstill. While the Severian drivers are arguing in traffic, 2 gray vans quietly pull up next to them. Men in road service uniforms, under the pretext of checking documents and raising the risk of a fuel leak from the damaged truck, suggest the drivers tow their trucks to a temporary parking lot. The procedure seems legal. The drivers, not expecting a trick in such a uniform, agree. At the parking lot, they are politely asked to go to a trailer to file a report. There, they are offered coffee. 10 minutes later, they fall asleep. The coffee contains a mild sedative. Minho's men, disguised as tow trucks, calmly drive 3 trucks carrying equipment to a pre-prepared secure area. They don't touch the cargo. They simply make it inaccessible. 3 hours later, the traffic jam clears. The truck is removed. The confused drivers wake up in the parking lot. Their trucks are gone. No signs of a struggle, no violence. Just a note under the window of the trailer. Temporary storage. You will be informed of the return price. Don't try to search. It's useless. The Northerners are furious, but powerless. Their main trump card, a surprise attack on the warehouse, hasn't yet been played, and they've already lost face and money. They don't know where the cargo is, and they realize their plans may be compromised. The next day, a day before the planned attack on the now empty warehouse, Minho takes action. He doesn't wait. He makes the call himself. He uses an old, forgotten channel of communication and contacts a man known only as Lee, the de facto leader of the Northerners. Lee is cautious, intelligent, and ambitious. He doesn't expect a call. "This is Minho speaking," he introduces himself when the connection is established. There's a pause on the other end, then a calm, low voice. "Unexpected. I thought you were recovering from the unpleasant incident by the river. Recovery is underway. I'm calling to propose a deal, a meeting. Just the 2 of us. No weapons. No people within a 200-meter radius. What are you hoping for? You're in a losing position. I'm hoping for common sense. You've lost the cargo. You've lost an informant. You've lost the element of surprise. And tomorrow, you'll lose something else. Meeting, midnight, park near the old observatory, central gazebo, one-on-one. Or are you afraid? The challenge has been thrown down. Refusal would be an admission of weakness in front of your own people." Lee accepts. "Okay, one-on-one. But know this. This is your last chance to speak. The night is quiet and cold. There's not a soul in the park." Minho arrives first. He's standing in an open gazebo, wearing a dark coat and unarmed. His side aches, but he holds himself upright. Lee appears from the shadows. He is older than Minho, with gray temples and attentive eyes. He is also unarmed. "So, what do you want to affairs?" Lee begins immediately. "Will you return the cargo in exchange for the lives of the women?" "No," says Minho. "I'm offering peace. Permanent." Lee smirks. "Peace? After what happened? After what happened, it is clear to both of us. The war will be long, expensive, and without guarantees. You will not destroy me in one blow. I will not destroy you. We will squabble for years, losing people, money, territory. Why? Then what? I'm giving you the Eastern Quarter, completely, with all the outlets, clients, flows." Lee freezes. It is a huge, lucrative territory, the core of Minho's business. He cannot believe his ears. "What's the catch?" "No catch. You get the quarter. I'm saving face because this looks like a strategic exchange, not a defeat. You cease all attempts to pressure me through my loved ones. Derek's debt, Holt's existence, is revoked. You forget about his existence, and about the existence of Kira and Ella. They become invisible to you. You will receive the cargo back in a week, when the territorial transfer is complete. And we are establishing a clear, permanent border. No raids, no provocations." Lee assesses silently. He gets the territory he coveted without a fight. He loses face if he refuses such an offer in front of his profit-hungry sponsors. But he also loses the ability to ever use his family as leverage against Minho again. That's the price. "Why?" Lee finally asks. "For them? You're trading an empire for 2 people?" "I'm trading territory for silence," Minho corrects. "And yes, for them. They are my silence. Decide." Lee looks at him for a long moment. Then he nods slowly. Deal. But if this is a trap, it's not a trap, it's a deal. We both get what we want most at this moment. You, growth. I, peace. They don't shake hands. They simply exchange nods. The deal is done. When Minho announces the decision to the clan, a storm erupts. They are gathered in a safe house. Taeyong jumps up. You're giving up the East Quarter? To those rats? You're surrendering! After everything they've done! Jinho sits silently, his face a stony mask. He's calculating the consequences. This isn't surrender, Minho says calmly. It's an exchange. We're exchanging a piece of land for complete safety. We're ending a war we couldn't win quickly without losing more. We're saving face and avoiding a long slaughter. What will the people say? Shouts one of the old commanders. They'll think we're weak, that we can be forced to retreat. People will think what we tell them, Minho retorts. We'll say it's a tactical move, that we're consolidating our forces for a new push. But in reality, we're getting a respite. We're tired, everything. This war has worn us down for years. Now we have a chance to catch our breath, regroup, focus on work, not shooting. And all because of a girl and her mother? Taeyong persists. Minho turns to his brother. His gaze makes Taeyong take a step back. Because of them, I saw that there is something more important than constant war. There is life, and I choose life. Anyone who disagrees can leave. Now, without consequences. But whoever stays will carry out my orders, without question. A heavy silence falls over the room. People look at Jinho. The old man rises slowly. The leader has made the decision, he says quietly but clearly. It may be unusual, but Minho has always led us to prosperity. I trust him. I'm staying, and I advise you to do the same. One by one, the people nod reluctantly. Minho's authority is shaken, but not broken. They don't understand him, but they still fear and respect him. They will accept this, for now. A week later, the deal is completed. The cargo is returned. The territory is handed over. The Northerners, stunned by such a bounty, are busy developing it and not encroaching on other lands. A fragile but genuine calm ensues. An unusual calm reigns in Minho's apartment. Ella begins to smile a little. Kira helps with the housework, her face losing all traces of panic. One day at breakfast, Minho puts down his glass of juice and looks at them. We're leaving, he says simply. From this city. In 3 days. Ella and Kira stop eating. Where? Kira asks. North. Another city. Smaller. I have a legitimate business there. A small logistics warehouse, an apartment. No one knows us there. Not the Northerners, not anyone else. We'll start from scratch. And your people? The business? Kira asks in a whisper. Jinho will run what's left. He's always been the brains. Taeyong, let him be the hands. They'll be fine. My time here is over. Ella looks at him with wide eyes. And I will go with you? If you want. You're free to choose. You can go wherever you want. You'll have money, new documents. But if you want, yes, we'll go together. As a family. He pronounces the word carefully, as if testing its sound. Family. Not the one before. New. Scarred, but with a chance. Kira looks at her daughter, then at Minho. She sees in his eyes not a demand, but an offer. And weariness. The deep weariness of a man who has found something worth laying down his arms for. We'll go with you, she says firmly. Ella nods silently, but firmly. 3 days fly by in preparation. Minho takes the bare minimum. A few suitcases. He says goodbye to Jinho in the same garage. The old man shakes his hand firmly. Take care of yourself, and them. If anything happens, call. Always. Thank you for everything. The farewell with Taeyong is shorter and colder. His brother still hasn't forgiven him for his change, but there's relief in his gaze. Don't get caught, Taeyong mutters. I'll try. The morning of departure is clear and sunny. They climb into the same gray sedan Minho drove to pick up Ella. Now he's driving them all. Away. The car leaves the city and picks up speed on the highway. The urban landscape gives way to fields, forests, and hills. Minho glances in the rearview mirror. Ella is already asleep in the back seat, covered with a blanket, her head resting on her mother's shoulder. Kira looks out the window at the passing trees. Her face is calm, thoughtful. In her arms is her daughter's strong, confident hand. He doesn't know what awaits them in the new city. He doesn't know if he can be just a warehouse manager. He doesn't know how their relationship will work out, this strange union of an ex-husband and wife, and a girl who isn't a daughter to either of them by blood. But he knows exactly what he's leaving behind, The shadow of war, the constant threat, life under siege. He's taking with him the most precious thing he has, a fragile, newborn world. The silence in the car, broken only by the even breathing of a sleeping child. He looks at the road stretching ahead. It's straight and empty. He turns on some soft music and accelerates. He's protecting what's important. And now, finally, he can do it without a gun in his hand, just by driving, with them, home, wherever that may be.